Good afternoon. My name is Vanessa, and I will be your conference operator today. At this time, I would like to welcome everyone to the Social Media Top 3, the Places You Want to Be webinar. All lines have been placed on mute to prevent any background noise. After the speaker's remarks, there will be a question and answer session. If you would like to ask a question during this time, simply press star, then the number 1 on your telephone keypad. If you would like to withdraw your question, press the pound key. Thank you. I will now like to turn the call over to Ms. Suzanne Knisner. Please go ahead, ma'am.
Thank you, Vanessa. Hi, everyone, and welcome to Social Media Top 3, the places you want to be. My name is Suzanne Knisner. I'm the Project and Corporate Coordinator with Campaign Consultation. And before we get started with today's presentation, I just wanted to go over a few details with you. If you lose your internet or phone connection, please call or log back in as you did originally. And please note that the conference call line is 1-877-297-9359. Also, please know that this event is being recorded and will be available on the VISTA Campus Social Media Monday landing page, and that all links presented during this presentation will be made available at the end. I would like to introduce Michelle Bond, Project Manager for Campaign Consultation, who will introduce today's presenters.
Thanks so much, Suzanne. Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's Social Media Monday webshop. We're really excited to be back with you. And joining us today, we also have Elizabeth Matthews, who is the Alumni Outreach Support Specialist at the corporation, and Danielle Ricks, who is the Social Media Specialist here at Campaign Consultation. And I would like to turn it over to Liz Matthews to get us started with the official welcome and a little bit of background about VISTA and social media.
Great. Thanks, Michelle. Hello, everybody. Thanks for taking time out of your day, your busy afternoon, to join us for this always interesting topic. I just wanted to say that the reason why we are focusing on social media is because we feel that it's important to be in the space where people are. So we want to meet you there, whether that's on Facebook or Twitter or YouTube. And we don't expect you all to be in 3 different places, all 3 of those spaces, but we want to have information available to you in a variety of places in order to reach our VISTAs and the alumni as well. And you may already have realized that there are many benefits to this, including connecting with each other from the beginning when you're at PSO to when you get back into your communities and start serving, and then throughout the life of your service career as you become alumni and need to network and connect and job hunt and all of that good stuff. And then finally, we feel that it's important because it's also a tool for us to be able to cross-market our resources that are available to you. And as you probably have discovered, there are a lot of resources out there on the campus, and it can get overwhelming. So we try to highlight different things. For example, the invitation to this web shop was also posted on our Facebook page. So we hope this is helpful to you, and look forward to hearing your questions and your feedback, and of course some examples of how social media is working for VISTAs and alums in the field and out in their careers today. So thank you.
Thank you, Liz. Thanks again for joining us. And again, everyone, we are really happy. We're moving into our 2nd year of Social Media Monday. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, again, welcome. And those of you who are coming back again, we certainly appreciate it. Just to give you a little brief background, Social Media Monday webshops really have grown out of both a desire, as Liz was saying, to meet folks where they're at, to provide tools that not only better connect the VISTA community, but better connect VISTAs out there serving to the resources that are available to them. But we really wanted to do that in a way that was definitely applicable to the work that VISTAs are doing. And so Social Media Monday is really a way to help to bridge VISTAs with social media platforms through examples, technology experts, and oftentimes VISTAs, and as we have today, 2 VISTA alums, who are using these platforms to help better do their service and go beyond their service. So, again, thank you for joining us, and we hope that you find today's information useful and something you can get started with right away. I'll now turn it over to Danielle to walk us through our day.
Great. Thank you, Michelle, and thank you all for joining us. We're very excited to have you with us. Today's agenda, we're going to talk about the top 3 social media sites that you should be in. There are many out there, and I know it gets confusing, so we're trying to narrow it down to the 3 biggies, the powerhouses out there in social media. So if you're only going to be in 3 places, these are the places for you to be. We're going to talk about how to use these sites effectively. We'll have VISTA case studies with 2 of our VISTA alum that I actually met using social media, so it does work. And then we'll talk about the social media takeaways. If you didn't learn anything else, we're going to have some bullet points for you to take away when this is done. We'll talk about some other sites to keep an eye on. So although we're primarily focusing on the top 3, we will have a couple other ones that you might want to keep an eye on. And then we'll have some social media tips for you. And we'll always leave some time for question and answers. And also, if you would like, please, hopefully you'll see that chat feature on the right-hand side, and you can chat with us and ask us questions that way. And otherwise, we certainly will leave some time later on to address those and others that you may have towards the end of the workshop. But now Michelle is going to walk you through our poll.
So on the right-hand bottom portion of your screen there, you should see 5 questions. And if you would just take a couple minutes to fill those out quickly. We'd like to get a sense of everyone's experience with these tools who's on the call today, and hopefully be able to tailor some of what we're speaking to in those ways. So just take a few minutes to go through those, and then we'll be sure to check back in a few moments once the poll has closed to see where everyone stands. So your social media strategy, it's important to begin with the end in mind, so to speak. And we've done these in great detail, but it's always good to take a step back and remember why you are, what your goals are when you start to jump into the social media world. So devise a social media plan. And that can be as simple as building upon whatever you already have in place. So existing content that you have that's been delivered in other ways, well, that's great material to begin to connect with your users in your community about online. Conduct research. What works best? What kinds of information are people looking for? What kinds of resources? What's the preferred way to communicate with you? All of these are not only going to help flesh out your strategy, but as you'll learn as we go through today, they'll really help to determine which platform is best for which purpose. Set and include benchmarks, and these can be simple things like, having some kind of an opportunity for feedback, on a once-a-week basis, having some kind of a larger event that happens over social media, for whatever makes sense for your organization, whether that's on a monthly basis, on every other month, just a way to chart your progress and to know that you're heading towards where you want to be. What are your ultimate social media goals? And then determine the who, what, and how of that. So once you have broadly what you're looking to do and you have some benchmarks that can help you measure those, then you want to assign tasks and you want to make sure that you have the right people in place to support you with that. As a VISTA, you may be the only person doing social media for your organization. So, whose input do you need to know what content you are putting out there, or who's going to help you to monitor the sites, things like that. You want to think through who's going to help you, whether it's on a part-time or a full-time basis with your social media strategy. And then finally, create a timeline. Put all of these pieces together, from content to schedule to goals, and then go from there. And then you'll be able to follow, at least in a loose format. You can always adjust, but it's a good way to make sure that you're shooting in the right direction.
Great. So why these social media top 3? Why these biggies? Well, Twitter has grown by leaps and bounds. I'm sure many of you know this already, and if you have not, I encourage you to get out there and start tweeting. Without a doubt, it's the best way to share and discover what is happening right now. It's microblogging for the most part. It's quick, fast information, but it's more than just tweeting press releases, although you can certainly do that as well. It's being able to communicate in a quick and effective way to get to your public and the people who are most interested in your mission, your organization. And Facebook is where you grow a community. It helps brands and organizations build a presence. And you can grow community and support for causes, for fundraising, for your organization, for liked organizations who have similar missions as yours. And then finally there's YouTube. And believe it or not, YouTube is actually the largest search engine out there. Now, it's no secret that it's owned by Google, and that could have a little bit something to do with it. But to believe it or not, people are actually doing searches in YouTube far more than they are anyplace else. I mean, who knew? So YouTube provides a forum for people to connect, inform, and inspire each other in a real-time information network. And it's there for storytelling. And it's a great way to not just tell stories through video, but also through photos. We often think that we have to get out there with a camera, and certainly that's a great way to do it. But you can also create a presence with photos and doing a slide presentation. So that's why we picked these three. We're hoping that you guys will find this very valuable as we walk through it with our case studies. And right now it looks like the poll results are ready. Suzanne, do you want to tell us what we have been able to figure out today?
Sure thing. It looks like 68% of you are using social media for your organization, and 56% of you are using Twitter, and 85% of you are using Facebook. Another 50% are using YouTube. And let's see, 18% are sharing your organization's mission using these sites. 32% are building a community of supporters using these sites. 26% are using these sites for marketing and communications. And then only 3% are recruiting volunteers using these sites.
Okay, great. So I think we're going to be able to help fill in some of those gaps for some of the rest of you. I think it's very interesting that 85% of you are using Facebook. That's fantastic. That will lead us into our segue with our VISTA David. And David, hi, how are you? You with us?
I'm here. How are you doing?
I'm wonderful. So tell us your name, where you served.
My name is David Fain. It's my first day as an AmeriCorps alum. I just finished my year of service with Family Services Metro Orlando. They run the child welfare for Central Florida, and it's been a wonderful time serving with them. I'd like to thank my boss, Bart Mawusi, and Kristen Shendel, who are also sitting in on this presentation.
Great. Thanks for being here. So one of the things I want to point out, this is a screenshot of the website, and look how prominent their social media is front and center on the right-hand side, and you'll see our top threes there, and then one of David's other favorites is positioned there, and we'll tell you about that a little later on. So talk to me about the social media plan and strategy. What was your strategy when you came in?
When I first started Family Services in Metro Orlando, they'd recently gone through a rebranding process, so they had a communications plan in place with some goals in mind already. They wanted to increase their social media presence, I think, by 1,000 users over the course of the year, as well as their email list. But they also wanted to reach out to new communities to increase their foster parents and foster homes. They wanted to receive more in-kind donations and unrestricted donations, and these are goals they also wanted to achieve through social media.
And I like that you said that there were some very clear goals, and I think that's very important to you VISTAs that are out there working in social media. You want to make sure that you're very involved with this goal setting and that you understand what your expectations are. You don't just want to be flapping out in the social media wind out there. You want some clear-cut goals, and I think, David, you've done a fantastic job with your presence, and if we could give David the rights, we're going to go to Twitter first, and you're going to walk us through your Twitter page, and now if you would go up to share desktop, you now have the power, David.
Okay, I have the desktop open. Here we go with our Twitter page.
Yes.
So what you're seeing here is our Twitter page. We have regular conversations with probably 50 to 60 different people in the community as well across the nation. We are associating with the Meet Me Halfway. You can see these little banners here. That's a nationwide foster care movement to focus on foster youth. Now, that was started by a country singer, but we like to reach out to those people because we want to find people with similar interests, and that's what we use Twitter for.
So for the people who are new to Twitter and they're still trying to figure it out, or for the other 49 or so % of who aren't who are on the call but aren't necessarily using it. Where do you begin? How do you figure out who to follow and who should be following you? Where do you start? You have your Twitter feed. Maybe it's already in place when the VISTA got there, and now it's their job to grow their community online. What's the first thing that you do?
Well, Twitter is actually a lot easier to use than it was about a year ago. When we started, we had 130 followers, and you kind of had to guess who to follow. Now they have a lot of recommendations. You can see who's following who. And you can even go on things like, I think it's Mr. Tweet, where there's all these different Twitter lists of people who use or in similar causes.
And one of the things I liked about what you said was the Twitter list, and you guys are listed in 55 spaces. And so we don't have any control over who lists us on Twitter, but the fantastic thing about it is if you look at the people on these lists and the people who are following those people, you know that 55 people are already interested in your Twitter feed. That means of those people that are following that person who's interested in you, well, it just goes on and on and on and on and on. So the lists help you expand and broaden out to a larger audience. So sometimes we don't pay attention to those, but it's a nice pat on the back when you're listed, but then go in and see who listed you and who they're following and who's following them, and that's a nice way to grow your community as well. One of the other things, David, that I really liked was scroll down a little bit, and one of those posts, and by the way, I'm so stealing this from you, help us fill in the blank. Tell us about that.
We've been trying to get our community more involved, and we've done a couple things over the past couple months. We've done foster care facts. We've done famous foster care alumni, trying to get people to guess things. And once they answer the question, and they usually just Google the same thing we put in, that conversation's over. So what we like to do is now give them a chance to fill in the blank and give us their opinions. So on a regular basis, we get maybe 10 to 15 responses each week. They moved the mention thing. I forget where they put it. But we share the mentions we get. So over the course of the last 2 months, we've gotten a long list of testimonials from people about what they think needs to happen in foster care, how people should get involved. It's been a great way to talk to people and learn new things.
And so what's so important about this to everybody on the call and folks who are listening is that you really want to have the people in your organization, the people who are following you in your community, participate. And oftentimes people use Twitter and they just spit out information, and they're not there to bring any information back in or to listen to what folks are saying to them. This is a great way to engage in conversation with people, and I'm so stealing that from you, David. I'll rebrand it something else.
Oh, no, that's fine.
So stealing that from you. So let's go on over to your Facebook page.
Okay.
And Facebook is where you grow a community. Twitter is quick, instant news. Facebook is community building. So tell me how you use those two differently in your service.
With our Twitter, we mostly have like a national focus. We deal with a lot of partnering agencies or advocates from different states. But right here on our Facebook, we have more than 600 people from our own community who participate, who need information. They come to us sometimes asking when the next training classes will be. We had someone, as you can see, just ask about running away, and that came as a surprise for us. People have been reaching out, and we've been able to give them after-hours responses as fast as we can.
And the other thing you talked about was, I don't want to shy away from this. So one of the things that I think to keep in mind is that when you have a Facebook page, all of the responses and everything's out there. Twitter's pretty fast, and it's a feed, and you're not exactly sure who's talking to you. One of the agreements that we made with our page is that we weren't going to move on and do another post unless we addressed someone who said something to us. If they needed something or if they needed some support from us, or if they were disgruntled, that we were going to address it before we did another post. It's very similar to a conversation. If someone asks you something or needs help, you wouldn't turn to the next person next to you and start saying something to them. You would finish that conversation. You would give them some help before you move on. So I like the fact that you're responding back to people, and I just want to drive home to the folks on the call and the people listening to this web shop is that you do want to be responsive. You absolutely want to listen to the folks that are out there and respond back to them. So that's a wonderful nuance, and there are some surprises that you didn't know that this was going to happen. So it's great that they're communicating amongst each other on this page.
Yeah, we also run the fill in the blank Fridays here, and we get a couple of responses, and we go back and we talk to them. We've had a number of successes where we've turned these people to speakers. They've helped us organize events where we go to their work and we start talking about foster care and adoption. So we're really using our online presence to drive our in real life presence and then bring it back online.
That's amazing. That's great. And you also talked about fundraising?
Yes. Back in April, we received some tickets to the Orlando Magic game. And what we did is we decided to use that as an incentive to get people to donate. So we ran a causes campaign, and we raised more than $400 in the course of a week by getting people to get their friends to donate. And the way we gave out the tickets was the person who not necessarily gave the most but raised the most. And it's a little complicated through causes, and we had to kind of revise that as we went. But we decided not to value the person who could give, but really the people who could convince as many friends as possible to join this cause, and we had some successes with that.
Great. Okay, so stick around, David, because
Okay.
I'm sure folks are going to have some more questions for you, and please feel free to jump in as we move through the workshop. Now we want to go on over to Paul. So Suzanne's going to take rights back from you and hold them for a minute.
Okay.
While we go on over to Paul. Hi, Paul, you there?
Yes, how you doing?
I'm great. Welcome back. Joining us again. We appreciate having you back. So let us know where you are, your full name, and where you're serving your title.
I'm Paul Best. I'm in Indianapolis, Indiana, and I'm a VISTA alum, and I serve at Starfish Initiative, the mentoring organization.
And what I like about your page, we're going to talk about YouTube, is that this is the home page, and if you guys can see the screenshot on the left-hand side, there's that video embedded right there. I think that's a great idea in terms of your branding.
Mm-hmm.
Suzanne's going to give me rights, and I'm going to drive while you walk us through your YouTube page.
Okay.
All right. There. Desktop. Here we go. So tell us a little bit about this page. When you set it up, what were you, I know it's still loading for some of you, when you were setting it up, what was your intention when you started doing your YouTube page?
My intention was basically to engage with our students because for us mentoring, we find mentors for students one-on-one, and then we manage those relationships. So it's not like a community type mentoring where there's a center and kids are coming in every day. So we needed something to engage these kids when they're not here. So I came up with the idea of the webisodes, just kind of keeping them interested, keeping them abreast of what's going on in the program outside of their relationship with their mentor, and just giving them interesting topics that pertain to them, things they need to know that they can apply to school, community, or even their relationship with their mentor.
Tell me a little bit about storytelling. How important is that for the particular audience that you were reaching out to?
It's because, we're centered around relationships, so even though the dynamics of each relationship is different, a lot of times when there's telling experiences between mentors and even peer-to-peer for the students, they learn from it. A mentor might say, well, my student hasn't called me in 2 weeks. Does she still like me, or things like that? So when you put those stories out there, it kind of like helps us with our jobs, helps take care of those possible issues or questions or concerns, because you have a lot of adults or mentors, this is their first time engaging with a student that isn't their child.
Now, we've done a whole workshop, and Paul, you were part of that one, on how to build a YouTube page. We're not going to do that today. We want to show you one of your videos, but for anybody on the call, we hope that you'll check the VISTA campus and up for our archives on the one that we did on the YouTube if you're trying to figure out how to get your YouTube channel started. But I did want to give folks an example of one of the videos that you did. So we're going to do Better Bodies Teen Fitness. Now, everyone, the audio, we're about to start the audio. It's rather loud, so I just want to warn you right now that it's going to come sort of out of nowhere. So here we go. By going full screen, did it stop?
Yeah.
There we go.
Starfish Scholars. I'm Willie Flanks, your new personal trainer. You may have heard me from videos such as Bow Tie and Tons of Hot Dogs. Well, I'm your new personal trainer for Starfish, and this summer, you need to be in fit before school starts. IT Associate Paul has teamed up with the YMCA. It's not just a dance. So you guys can know how to be healthy and fit for the next year. So pay attention and give me some high knees. Not you, silly, them. Starfish. It's in you. Hey, scholars. We're here at the YMCA Athenaeum downtown. I'm here with Cheyenne, and Cheyenne, what's your student name?
Hi, I'm Cheyenne. I'm one of the wellness coaches here, and I also do personal training for the athletes.
Okay. This part of our webisode, we're going to actually show you guys how to stay in shape, how to stay fit.
Sorry, you guys. I'm trying to turn this up a little. Having a little technical issue. Hold on. Turn it up some. There we go. Okay.
And the YMCA is a great place for you to do that. You can give us some information. What does the YMCA actually do?
So if you're a Y member, we actually offer free wellness coaching for all YMCA members, and you get 5 free appointments with a wellness coach. And with that, we'll go through a couple of routines for you to help you work out when you're working out on your own.
All right, so you guys might be out there thinking, I don't really need to be doing this. I'm only, 14, 15, 16. But actually, when is the best time to actually establish healthy habits and exercise?
So by your early 20s, you should have some habits already established, but the earlier the better.
All right, folks, you heard it. The earlier the better. So if you guys establish healthy eating, fitness, and nutrition, there'll be benefits that last all throughout your lifetime. Better health, better outlook on life, just a whole better perspective of your life. So the younger, the better. So right now, we're going to actually go downstairs to the actual equipment, the gym, you guys call it.
Yes.
And Cheyenne's going to show us how to actually use different equipment and different exercises that you guys can do here at the Y, any of the Ys in Indianapolis, or even at home. We'll see you down there. Okay, so you're probably wondering what I'm doing. Right now, I'm doing cardio. You can see we're actually in the cardio room of the YMCA at Athenaeum. And cardio is actually a very important part of your exercise routine. And Cheyenne's going to come and tell us why cardio is so important.
So with your exercises, you need cardio and strength training. Both of them are optimal for good health. And it's nice to kind of start out with your cardio because it's a built-in warm-up. So if you head downstairs and do your resistance training.
All right, let's go downstairs.
So, Paul, why did you choose this particular character?
Well, I started off with the theme, Better Bodies. We did a whole series of buildings because our building was being renovated, so we kind of came up with topics to help kind of, I guess, quote-unquote, renovate our students, and one was in study habits, and this one was in fitness. And so I know that Billy Blanks was the big Tybo guy, so we just made a fictional character called Willie Flanks. And, corny as it was, it did get attention of a lot of our students, so it was kind of an entertainment piece for them, and it kind of kept them engaged, wondering what he was going to do next type thing.
Right, so you were thinking of your audience when you were making this. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And how difficult was it to make this short video?
Not difficult at all. Basically, I'm a member of that Y, so I just sent them an email telling them what I was trying to do, and so they just picked it down. We came down there, and I just had my digital camera and my flip video, and then I just created it on Windows Movie Maker.
So one of the takeaways is that, you don't have to have a big studio.
No.
You should be thinking about your audience. Go someplace where it's rather easy, right? Somewhere in the studio, they're not going to say no to you if you want to come shoot. And I would imagine you kind of knew what you were going to do before you got there. Maybe you didn't have a full storyboard, but you sort of knew where you wanted to move around.
Yeah, we kind of, the employee there, we kind of did a dress rehearsal or a dry run, or, so she knew what type of questions I was going to ask her.
Okay, great. We're going to come back to you a little later because we know you wanted to show us one other thing, and we're going to move on to our channel. This is our VISTA channel and our VISTA YouTube channel. And you can see here we have our first video, which Volunteers in Service to America. All of our Social Media Monday workshops are over here as part of our playlist. And then, Liz, you want to tell us a little bit about our reporters. We're going to show a couple of those videos, but you want to tell us a little bit about that project?
Sure. So this came about actually through this year's VISTA's 45th anniversary, for those of you who are not aware of that. And an alum had a relationship with Flip Video, and he was able to help us get a donation of 5 Flip Video cameras. And so what we decided to do with those cameras was to get volunteers in the field, current VISTA members in the field, and we've mailed them the cameras with instructions and really let them decide what scenes and what footage they wanted to take. But the idea is that they are helping two things, both in order to help us get the AmeriCorps VISTA name out there, and so more people are aware of what it is that we are doing and what our mission is. And then secondly, they can help to promote their program and what it is that they are doing in terms of capacity building and fighting poverty in their communities. So right now we have 3 volunteer reporters out there, and one of them is, I think they're going to show 2 videos. I'll let you cue those up. And I actually, Danielle helped me, because it is a learning process, understand the importance of titling your videos in order so that you have the information you really want to include, so that when people do searches, they're going to find your videos, and then the descriptions and so forth. So,
let's look at Mike. Again, the audio may be a little loud, guys, so I just want to warn you. So here we go.
Hey, everyone. My name is Mike Ewing, and I am one of your VISTA volunteer reporters. I'm coming from you live, recorded here at Chicago Access Network Television, or KNTV. I just started this position about a month ago, and I'll be here for a year as a VISTA, working with them in their nonprofit services part of their business. And what they do here at Nonprofit Services is they work with a lot of area nonprofits to help them use cable television to actually reach out to people in the community. So, and also to promote their own organization, so it's sort of, multi-purpose. Got my office right here. Check it out. Name on the door. Pretty cool. So spent a lot of time in here, obviously. Got a TV. Got it set to the latest CAN TV programming. Let's see what's on there. Okay. Looks like something from our community partners. Got a file cabinet of my very own. Very nice. Here's my computer. Spent a lot of my time. Very important files. Summary, everything. And, you gotta have snacks on the desk. Yeah, and as a VISTA volunteer reporter, what I'm going to be doing is trying to find out more about why do people serve as VISTA, what's the impact of VISTA on the community, and maybe even what are some of the perceptions that people have about VISTA and AmeriCorps in general, and whether people are even aware of it. So, hey, if you have any comments, if you're currently serving in VISTA, someone who's considering joining AmeriCorps, or an alumni, feel free to leave a comment to this video. I guess some of the questions I would have for people who currently served and who served in the past is, why? Why did you sign up for VISTA? And then what's the experience been like, or what was it like? So look forward to talking to you all, and I'll keep in touch. All right.
Great, and we have one more to show you.
This is the home where I grew up in Lansing, Michigan. You've probably seen my home state in the news lately for a troubled economy, low graduation rates, high unemployment rates. When I was growing up, the place that I am standing right now used to actually be a GM auto plant. And a lot of my friends and family worked here, and now it's gone. And this really here was the catalyst for me moving back here.
After seeing what was happening in my hometown, I decided to give up my job overseas and return home to spend a year as an AmeriCorps VISTA. I wanted to show the world a side of Michigan you don't hear on the news. It is a story of the people and the amazing work they are doing to rebuild this state.
Michigan has the innovation of the assembly line, the creativity of Motown, and the social consciousness of a 6-hour workday. These talents shine brightest in our 224 AmeriCorps Vistas.
The impact Vistas have had at the state is tremendous, from people in Detroit who are working with children and working with service learning down there, to people here in my office who are doing a statewide cross-stream collaboration, getting disabilities into service.
And there's me, serving with Learn and Serve Michigan. Every day I get to build resources and work with grantees around the state in high-poverty communities. I provide them with support that can help service learning flourish where our state needs it most.
This is my favorite role in our office. All of these papers here are things that youth have done to talk about why their voice is important in the community. So they bring new ideas for a better future. They care even when nobody else does. My voice needs to be heard so I can make a difference because I will be a leader of a new tomorrow. I love these because when I'm really having a difficult day at my service project, I can look at these and I can really see the impact I'm making because these youth are the future, and these youth are going to be the super servers that are going to bring everything together. I think I have one of the coolest service sites in America, and I can't wait to share that with you over the next couple of months.
This isn't just about sharing my story. It's about sharing stories of Vistas all over the country. So if you have thoughts, passion, a story that you want to share with the Vista community, contact me. I'm going to include my Twitter, my Facebook, and my blog at the end of this, and I really encourage you all to come and get to know me, and I'd really like to get to know you guys and your service. I am so excited to be able to be a Vista reporter, and I'm so excited to be able to meet you all either face-to-face or even on the Internet. So come contact me. But for now, this is Robin Sigmund signing off. And I've always wanted to say that.
That's so great. Hey, Liz, so those are two very different videos, and they took two different approaches. Any final words to folks out there who might want to do some storytelling on YouTube?
Sure. Well, I think one thing we've been trying to do is to make sure that they do stay focused on explaining what AmeriCorps Vista is and what they're doing in their sites, but also let their personalities shine through. So having a good balance there and trying to keep the audience of potential members, people who might be on YouTube exploring things, thinking whether they want to serve other organizations who might be considering getting Vistas, trying to keep the bigger picture in mind because sometimes they get really focused on their project in general. So just trying to keep a balance of all those messages at once.
Great. So thank you. I'm hoping we gave some folks out there some different ideas on ways that they could use YouTube. Susanna's going to grab the rights back away from me, and Michelle's going to walk us through a worksheet that you all can use as a takeaway, sort of.
Great. Thank you, Danielle, and thanks for showing us some of those videos, and to our Vista alums. Great stuff there. And so we've thrown at you a few different platforms today, and also demonstrated a few different ways they're being used as well. And so what we're looking at right now is just a worksheet that we developed for a presentation we did on the work that we've done with Vista. But basically the idea is just to help you think through the audiences that you're trying to reach and which of these digital spaces might be best to achieve that. So, for example, with some of the Vista videos, you could tell, obviously they knew their audience, either fellow Vistas or potential Vistas and alumni, people who had some understanding of national service and walking them through sort of their sites and the day-to-day work that they're doing. Another thing might be that if you're just starting up your social media strategy, you might just want to take a look at what each of these sites
Okay. So this is a worksheet you can use. I just asked a question of you guys about Twitter and Facebook in your organization or YouTube, and which one of these you think might help you in your service. And this worksheet will help you think through some of the stories and what it is that you're trying to do. Are you trying to build a network? Do you want to connect with supporters and share your story? Are you trying to break news quickly or trying to get mobilized community members? And on YouTube, you tell your story using video, which is like some of the ones that we just saw. So this is a worksheet to sort of have you think through some of the things that you might want to talk about and express out in the social media site, and then narrow in on which one of these three, and sometimes it may be all three, that are going to help you in your service and organization. So we're going to move on, and these are the other two places that we would just be remiss if we did not talk about. And this is what to keep an eye on. So, David, are you still with us?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So, David, we're going to give rights back over to you, and we're going to quickly go through your Flickr page, and then Paul's going to take us through his Ning page, and then we're going to get to some Q&A.
Okay.
So
I've got control now?
Yeah, we're going to give you rights. You have rights. Now all you have to do is share your desktop.
Okay.
It takes a little minute for it for the magic to happen.
Okay. So what I have open right now is our Flickr account, and we host our Heart Gallery on there. And what that is a traveling photo exhibit that we launch every year that has the portraits of children available for adoption. It's one of our most liked programs, and we love seeing out in the community, but we wanted to reach more audiences, so we started including it online. And since launching it on this particular gallery in Flickr on September, we've gotten more than 10,000 views, I believe, and we've received a lot of adoption inquiries online. Jakari here is a wonderful little guy, and we have people asking all the time if he's still available and how they can get involved with adoption. So we've turned this into a call to action, an opportunity to get more people involved in the adoption process, and a lot of these people come from out of state, which makes it a lot more valuable.
I absolutely love your use of Flickr. We talk about storytelling all the time, but you're absolutely right. You used your Flickr page as a call to action, and I just think that's an amazing way to use this particular social media site, and I'm hoping that others will follow suit. It's a great use. And now we're going to, Paul, are you still there with us?
Yes.
Okay, we're going to turn rights over to you, and you're going to take us to your Ning page and talk to us a little bit about a closed social network and why that may work for some people. So we're going to give you rights. It takes a little while, and then if you would share your desktop with us.
Hey. Is it up?
Yeah, you have the rights. You can share your desktop.
All right.
But we can
this is a Ning page, and basically...
Hey, Paul, we don't see it yet. Did you share your desktop? Go up on the left-hand side where it says share.
Okay.
And then share desktop. And then it takes a little minute. It's booting up now. We do see your desktop.
Okay.
There we go. We're with you now.
Basically, Ning is an opportunity for you to set up a private social network. You can base it off different interests or ideas, different communities. We started two, actually. This is the most recent one we started for our mentors, because once a student is matched with a mentor, it's usually just them. So this is an opportunity for the mentors to meet other mentors and kind of bounce ideas off each other. We can post events, things that are coming up, make last-minute announcements, give shout-outs for people who are doing great things in their relationships, put discussion questions up. We kind of have a feed where every 2 weeks we'll put up a new question and let them answer things, just kind of give them something for them to kind of promote activity on there. You have mentors who will post pictures from different events that they've been with their scholars, different questions that they might have, and it helps me as a case manager. It helps me with my job, because a lot of times it's easier for a mentor to understand when they hear it from someone else, another mentor who's been through a similar experience or situation.
And the important part about this is I know with some of the organizations that the VISTA serve, they have private information that they may not want to share, particularly when you're dealing with teens. That, you may not want to share on Facebook. They may not want to put all that private information out there. But with a Ning, a social networking site such as a Ning, you can close the environment, close ranks, and people feel a little bit more comfortable with sharing that information.
Yes. Actually, on the Ning site that we have for our students, we have a lot of parents who don't allow their children to be on Facebook, but they will allow them to have a Ning network because of its privacy.
Right. So that's a great option for some of you out there, and I think this is a great use of it. Like you said, you can add photos, you can add video, and you can also have private conversations, and there are also forums as well. So thank you for sharing that. Thank you to you and David. Don't go anywhere because there may be some questions for you guys. We're going to take the rights back now and just go over some social media tips for you. So Michelle talked a little bit earlier about having a social media plan. You want to make sure that you have a strategy and know your audience. You've heard both of the VISTA alums talk about that. I would like to say to be consistent with your posts. It's not that important, and it's a different formula for everybody on how often you post. What's most important is that once you set that pace of when you're going to post and the people are expecting to hear from you, that you keep that expectation up. I said it time and time again, listen to your audience. They will guide you along the way, the social media track, so you want to make sure you're listening to them. Be creative when telling a story. You saw 3 different types of storytelling, and I want to say once again that you can tell stories through photos as well. So while you may have photos up on Flickr, you could actually set that to music and make a YouTube video out of it. So you want to keep that in mind. And engage your audience in the storytelling process, whether or not it's something that I'm about to steal from David with that fill-in-the-blank line or something that you come up with yourself. You want to make sure that you have an opportunity to engage with the audience and have them be able to talk back to you. And so now we want to leave some time for questions. Michelle, anybody chatting out there or anyone have a question that you'd like to pose to any of us?
Yeah, there's several questions in the chat. So just to start off with, Darcy is asking in regard to talking about using the different platforms. Would it make sense then to use YouTube for working with kids and Twitter for more outreach and parental updates?
Well, I'm going to actually defer that to Paul because, Paul, you deal with kids more often. What would you say?
Can you repeat that again?
Sure. Would it make sense to use YouTube for outreach to kids and then Twitter for more outreach to parents?
It varies. With our students, the YouTube was a big thing because they're on YouTube searching for other videos and things like that. It depends on the dynamics of your program. For my students, we work with a lot of income-based people who are on a low income. So internet might not be anything that's very accessible. Twitter, it might vary with working adults. Will they tweet at work? Will they read your tweet? Different things like that. So it's really important to look at the dynamics of your who do you serve and figure out what works best for them.
Suzanne, I don't know if you want to take this moment to go ahead and see if we want to open it up for questions.
Sure thing. Vanessa, can you set us up for questions in the queue?
Yes, ma'am.
Great, thank you.
At this time, I would like to remind everyone, if you would like to ask a question, press *1 on your telephone keypad. We will pause for just a moment to compile the Q&A roster.
And while that's happening, I'll pull another question from the chat. Mark is asking whether you think it's a good option to use apps that are available for posting across all 3 sites so that you have consistency in your messaging and with your name.
I'm going to answer that 2 different ways, and it's going to sound like I'm talking out the side of my neck. So first, let me say yes and no. The yes is, for instance, a scheduled event like this, it makes sense to go across platform. It's a basic, we're doing a web shop at this time, at this date, and I can post it to 3 different places by using an application such as Hootsuite. But our audience, the VISTA audience on Twitter, is very different from the VISTA audience on Facebook, and we don't learn that until we are actually in the space. And so questions that are posed on Twitter may have a different sound and feel than they do on Facebook. On Facebook, it's much more formal, and on Twitter, it's much more casual. So you may hear 2 different voices in those spaces, and I can't use a multiple platform to do that because we can't detect tone in that instance. But so for some things that are very straightforward, to the point, yes, absolutely. Do yourself a favor. Set up some automatic tweets and automatic posts if you like. You do have to pay for some applications to do an automatic tweet to Facebook, automatic post to Facebook, but pretty much all the ones for Twitter are free. And then I would look at your audience. If you think they're the same group in both spaces, go ahead and use a multiple service. If not, then you might have to take that extra time to talk to them differently. And I also see someone else had a question. Rebecca wanted to know, she wanted some ideas for getting more Facebook followers. And I have some suggestions, but I wanted to hear from you, David. What do you think are some suggestions you might want to share with her to get more Facebook followers?
Really you want to include that in everything you do. When we launched our aggressive movement to increase our Facebook followers, we changed all our email signatures to include the link. As you saw, we use social media very prominently on our website, and we made sure that we talked about it live and then when we were at events. So we were going to events monthly and talking about it, and people were going home and taking that with them. We made handouts with tips about how to get involved. It's really about spreading the word. So you use Facebook to spread the word, but without it, you kind of have to really go to the old-fashioned way by talking to people.
Right. And is there anybody on the line that wants to ask a question? Anybody in queue? We don't want to ignore you, so we want to know if you're out there.
At this time, there are no audio questions.
Okay. So then I see Kathy has a question. And she says, with the growing uses among older adults ages 60 plus, which social media network, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, etc., do you think are the most effective to connect with them? I'm creating a plan for my project site that will target older adults, family caregivers as the audience. Well, I think that the broadest answer I can give you, Kathy, is to jump out there and try it. I could give you a blanket answer, and it may only pertain to a certain group of 60-year-old plus. If you you have a target audience, and this is for caregivers, you're going to have to do a little bit of investigating. I think Michelle talked about that earlier, and do a little bit of research and try it out on all three platforms. And as we used to say, throw it up on the wall and see what sticks. And when your responses start coming in, I'd say in about 90 days, you're going to find out where these folks are the most. Right now, these are the three top social media sites, and you don't want to ignore any one right now. So go on out there and start doing your posts, start following people that are in the same target group that you're in, have them follow you back, start engaging with them, both on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. And they'll come back to you with questions, and they'll come back to you with comments, and before you know it, you will have grown a community. One of the things I want to say to all the VISTAs on the line and the alum and even leaders and supervisors, please be patient with social media. This does not happen overnight. Growing a community does not happen overnight, and executing your plan does not happen overnight. So we want you to be really patient with this. It's going to be 90 days before you're going to get any real information. It could be up to 6 months to a year before you can turn around and have a complete plan and be able to say, yes, we know our audience. So give yourself some time. Michelle, would you like to add anything to that? Or Liz, would you like to add anything?
I would just say, I mean, to that, specifically that last question, I think that that's a great example of, thinking through who your audience is. Obviously, older 60 audiences, has thousands of audiences within it. And in the early stages, it might not hurt to think, as narrowly as possible when you're trying to, for instance, use that sheet and think through which places and what types of messages and what types of content that you have and what's the best way to deliver it. So
that's great. And Darcy wants to know, should we still be updating our original website or just get rid of it altogether with all these three media outlets? I think, Darcy, I hope you were with us from the beginning. I really liked the way David and his organization had their original website, but what they did was they put real estate on their front page for their social media sites. And I would hate to say take all that effort and throw away your website, but what I would say is to, even if you don't have enough room to have it as prominent as they did in for his organization, 3 buttons with your 3 hot social media sites that lead them to those social media sites gets you there and saves you a lot of time. So we are, thank you all, first of all, for your questions. We really appreciate it. We're going to move on. Michelle's going to talk to you about some things to keep in mind.
Great, thank you, and thanks everyone. We might just take a couple of extra minutes because we did want to get to all those questions. So also the evaluation will be open, and there it is, on the right-hand side. So as we're wrapping up, please give us your feedback. We really do use it to improve from each time to the next. So we appreciate that. A couple of things to keep in mind. Obviously, as a VISTA, you are restricted from doing participating in political activity, and that does also include in the digital space. So just be mindful of that. And also, obviously, as you're representing VISTA online and across these platforms, please be appropriate and remember that you are representing the program as well.
And we also want you to stay safe online. Protect yourself and your organization while online. Keep your passwords in a secure place. Don't share your passwords with anyone. Be selective. If you're starting their social media from scratch, please be selective in choosing your username and email address. Don't allow others to draw you into conflict. That goes back to Michelle talking about being tasteful and appropriate. Watch what you quote say online. And never use your work account for personal use. We just have to say that to you. And Michelle's going to take us through some other things that we would like you to keep in mind as well.
So in front of us is a screenshot of the Social Media Monday course page that's available through the VISTA campus. And this link has been posted a few different times in the chat. So once you're done with the evaluation, please go back through and make sure that you have tried out that link. That'll take you to the page that has all of the Social Media Monday archives in addition to the upcoming sessions and also links to other resources that are social media related. So we hope that you check that out. In addition, we do have tours of the VISTA campus for those of you who are new to VISTA. I'm not sure exactly how to navigate. There's a ton of information there. And so every Thursday at 2 p.m. We host those, and there are announcements about how to sign up for those on Facebook and Twitter and through the campus, but just an extra little plug for those.
And all of the links that we talked about in this workshop are available here. And one of the ones that I want you guys to take a look at is the Metro Orlando one, so that you can take a look at how they use their Facebook page. But these are all the links that Paul and David talked about in our workshop today. Thank you, Suzanne. And now these are our links. So that's the VISTA Campus social media course page. If you need more information about the Hatch Act, that's there. Staying safe online, there's a lot of information about that. We hope that you will follow us on Twitter, and you will like us on Facebook, and you will come on over and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And, hey, I don't know, upload a video and tell your story. We'd really appreciate that.
And this is Elizabeth. I just wanted to make a final plug. If anybody would be interested in becoming a volunteer reporter, we're trying to set up more reporters for 2011. So just shoot me an email at vistaoutreach@cns.gov, subject line volunteer reporter, and send along any links or videos that you've already put together. So we'd love to have you get involved.
Thanks, Elizabeth.
Thank you.
And finally, I just want to say thank you, Liz. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, David. Some really great information today. And for everyone, we hope that you'll return with us in January 24th, the fourth Monday of the month. And bear with us. We're in the process of finalizing our 2011 schedule, but as soon as that's available, hopefully in the next couple weeks, that will be posted on that Social Media Monday campus page as well. So be sure to check back there and visit us in the VISTA forum after the call to continue the conversation. Thank you so much for joining us, and have a wonderful week and a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. We'll keep the conversation going in the forums. If we didn't get to your question, we'll get to them there. Thank you.
This concludes today's conference call. Thank you for your participation. You may now disconnect.
Thanks, Vanessa.
You're welcome. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Thank you. You too.
You too,
Thank you.
Vanessa.
Bye-bye.